welcome back to my channel. Come with me today to do an oil change on my 2006 Toyota Hiace. Let's get started. Before we can work on the van, we need to move it to a flat ground because my driveway is not flat. And I cannot move it into the garage because the van is a little too high with the roof racks on it. So here's me moving it towards the bottom of the driveway. The van serves a lot of purpose. It's my daily. I take it to and from the station when I head off to work. It's also listed on a car share platform so other people can borrow it when they need to. Bought this van back in 2001 and it doesn't ask for a lot. I've only done general maintenance on it. That's pretty much it. The other reason why I bought this van is because it's a manual. And at the time, I wasn't confident in driving one, and this was a great vehicle to learn how to drive manual in. For oil changes, my usual method for getting more room underneath the vehicle is to drive it on ramps. I feel more safe and comfortable knowing that all four wheels are touching the ground. And as long as I have my handbrakes on and someone to chock the wheels, shouldn't go anywhere. But that's just me. Do what you feel is comfortable. On this van, the engine is right underneath the driver and passenger seat. So for us to change oil to get access to the engine bay, we will need to lift the passenger side seats. Luckily, it's a very simple procedure. There are two latches that you have to undo and the seat flips right up. And there's a holder for you to clip the seat in place. Engine oil stains are really annoying to get rid of, especially on concrete. There's a couple spots on my driveway that I, for the life of me, cannot remove, so it's good to have some cardboard on hand, lay it underneath the van where you're gonna do work, and if you make mistakes, the oil drips on there, then that's all good. Also, don't mind the background music. I was playing Eurobeats and some Initial D music on the background. Hopefully I don't get done with the copyright stuff on YouTube. So next we'll need to remove a panel underneath the van to get access to the drain bolt and also the oil filter. Here's me grabbing the correct size socket so we can remove those bolts and get rid of the panel underneath. There's a reason why I parked the van facing left. At the time when I was doing the oil change, I was hoping to work in the shadow that's produced by the van, but I forgot that the oil filter is on the other side and I can't be bothered moving the fan, so I end up working under the sun. I also think it's a good idea to undo the oil filler cap so that the dirty oil flows out smoother when you undo the drain bolt. On this fan, the drain bolt is 14mm nut, so grab a 14mm socket and crack it open. And then you can take out the drain bolt. Wearing gloves makes things a lot cleaner and you don't get dirty oil on your hand. You might also need to readjust your oil pan to catch all the waste oil because the flow is a little different towards the end. And then it's time to tackle the oil filter. Usually I can undo this by hand, but for some reason on this day I just couldn't. I thought it was a grip thing, so I removed my first layer of gloves and tried on my other gloves. That didn't work, and I had to break out the oil filter removal tool. Took a little fiddling to make sure that clamps on to the oil filter, and after a little bit of finesse, I was able to take off the oil filter from the engine. Make sure you have repositioned your oil pan as well. So often the oil filter is not located near the drain bolt, so if you forget, there's going to be a big mess afterwards that you have to clean up. Something I like to do while waiting for the dirty oil to drain out of the car is to spend a little bit of time to clean the drain bolt. Now this drain bolt is not magnetic, but there are some that is, and I usually like to use some heavy duty degreaser, spray it on there, give it a good clean with a clean cloth, and make sure that it's all clean before we put it back onto the car. And we're gonna grab the engine oil that we need. I'm using a 5W30 fully synthetic oil as recommended in the owner's manual. We are also going to need a new oil filter as well, and for this I'm using a Z418 Ryco oil filter. Before you put fresh oil into your engine, you want to make sure that your drain bolt is back onto the engine bay. You also want to replace the washer on your drain bolt as well. And once you got everything together, make sure it's tight and we can move on to the next step. While I was editing the video, it reminded me of the first time when I was doing my own oil change. I realized afterwards that there's a place for you to put your old oil filter on the edge of the oil pan for it to drain out all the waste oil. Lessons learned. After you tightened the drain bolt, we can then install the oil filter. Remove it from the packaging and you want to visually inspect, make sure that this oil filter is the same size as your old one, especially when using a different branded oil filter. Afterwards, you can dab your hand in some fresh oil and loop up the rubber seal around the edge. There's a big debate on whether you want to pre-fill your oil filter or not. I didn't this time as I want to see if there was any difference to be felt when I start the car. After that, you can install the oil filter, make sure it's only hand tight, that's more than enough. I think we've done the hardest part. Now we just have to set the dirty oil aside and put in fresh oil into the engine. This engine calls for 5.5 liters of engine oil, so I've got a fresh unopened bottle and some that I've used from a previous job. Sometimes things doesn't go according to plan. I was struggling to screw on my makeshift funnel in there, so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna take a gamble and try to make sure that I do this as clean as possible in case if I had an accident. So I wrap a piece of cloth around the inlet where the oil goes and cross my fingers and hope for the best. Luckily this time I was able to do a very clean pour into the engine, so the gamble paid off. There's only a few more steps to go before we can take this for a test drive. You have to put the oil cap back onto the engine. I usually give it a quick wipe just to make sure that it's clean, so you can twist it back on. I was pretty confident I got everything right, so my next step was to reinstall the bottom panel back onto the van. And then make sure I clean up everything else, take away the cardboard, remove the oil bottle right next to the van before I reverse back onto flat ground. We won't be using the ramp as well, so we're gonna take that back into the garage. And then I realized that the garage is a bit of a mess, so I spent a little bit of time cleaning that up as well. I've been trying to reorganize my garage a little bit. Turns out there's a lot of things I don't need anymore, so they're just there on the floor, either to be sold or throw away as rubbish. There's many ways to put waste oil back into the bottle for recycling. What I have is a large plant pot with a funnel that I only use for dirty oil. I've got some empty bottles underneath, and it should catch everything. Now the van has some time to cool off, and I can check the oil using the dipstick. You want to make sure that it's above the minimum and it's not overfilled. You can check it by first pulling the dipstick out, wipe off the oil on the dipstick, put it back in, and pull it back out again. That way you get a more accurate reading for your engine oil level. And then you can write up when is your next service due. Usually there's a little label at the back of your engine oil bottle that you can use. And what I usually do after an oil change is to take the car around the block. Take it for a test drive. See if there's any weird lights that comes onto the dash, or if there was some additional new noises that didn't exist before the oil change. If all is good, then it's good for another 5,000, 10,000 Ks or 6 to 12 months. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. My name is Dennis, and we'll see you next time.